United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will have the singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Very much. Colors were presented tonight by the William Penn Air Force Junior ROTC Honor Guard, and our national anthem was sang by Rebecca Widener, Elia Williams, and Isabella Villa. Thank you very much. Very, very well done. Next order of business we had was we were presented by a marching band performance that we'll have, please.
We had the marching band out on the steps earlier, Mr. Laws, and under our We Got Talent feature of the board for the second month in a row, we're going to ask band director John Conich to come on up and talk a little bit about what you heard out front and a little bit about the visual performing arts of William Penn. So, John, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, board members and Colonial Nation. My name is John Conich. I'm the band director at William Penn High School. If you heard the performance downstairs, what you heard were a couple of our stand tunes that we perform every Saturday at our home football games, as well as the first couple movements for our competitive show, which is entitled A Minor Setback. What we did for this year for our competition show was take a lot of famous and well-known music throughout history, and we kind of put a modern twist on it. And we are going to be wrapping up learning the rest of our show in the coming weeks for our first competition next Saturday and onward at Odessa High School. So thank you for having us perform. Our kids always have a great time performing here. I do apologize if we are rehearsing outside, so if it gets a little bit loud during the rehearsal, my apologies. But thank you very much for having us. I appreciate you all.
Next order of business we have is additions and or corrections to the board agenda. We have two additions. Item 9A, waive policy of 00, the provisions of the policy. Wait, try that again. 9A, waive the provisions of policy 004. 9B, add would be to approve the COVID leave policy. Do I hear any other additions or corrections to the board agenda? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as presented? So moved. Second. Second?
Second.
Move second to approve the agenda as corrected. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Agenda is approved. Consent agenda will be our next order of business. Consent agenda consists of education item, meeting minutes, personnel, business items such as bid contracts, budget variance, monthly report, bus contracts. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Schiller, seconded by Mr. Crossan to approve the consent agenda as presented. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Consent agenda is approved. Next order of business we have is updates and action items. First thing we have is our Teacher of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, this time I have the pleasure to introduce Colonial's District Teacher of the Year for 2022. Robert Poor is a health and education teacher at Southern Elementary School and has been teaching here in the district for 16 years. He's had a good role model growing up. His mother, Barbara, taught math at William Penn for 30 years. Rob is not only heavily involved in school and district activities, but he is also active in the community. Colonial Nation is proud to have Rob Poor representing the district next month at the ceremony where the State Teacher of the Year will be announced. Mr. Poor, the floor is yours for a couple of minutes to comment at this time.
Corner there, and look, yeah, right here where the glasses are on the table. Stand and look at the corner, at least you'll be partially on the camera.
And you can look there. There you go.
All right. So I just want to thank everybody for having me. And I want to start by saying that no one can overestimate the challenging times that we've all faced over the last year and a half. But when faced with adversity, we often have a tendency to fall back on what we're comfortable with and what we're used to. We figure out what's worked for us in the past. We trust those habits. However, during this challenging time, I've seen staff member after staff member in the Colonial community reinvent themselves to better serve our students and our community. We have come together to show amazing flexibility, resilience, and innovation, continuing to put students first as we navigate this challenging educational landscape. I'm honored, humbled, and proud to be representing the amazing teachers that we have here in Colonial and our commitment to do what's best for kids. As we look forward to the future of our district, our greatest hope lies in our incredible team, our commitment to serve every child in every classroom, every day, through the power of we. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Rob, thank you very much. On behalf of the board, we wish you luck and want you to know we're proud of everything you do to make a difference in the lives of our students in our community. Vice President Schiller has a presentation for you.
On behalf of the board and everybody here at Colonial, I appreciate so much what you do. Congratulations.
Get a fancy shot up there. Come on, Rob.
Yeah.
At this time, we asked if we could just pause the meeting for a second. Rob, I know you got kiddos that need to get home and get ready for bed or homework. Hey, Lauren and Gabe, maybe a picture on the front steps where they're able to take their masks off and be a little bit more comfortable. Might be a nice shot for the district and family.
And thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you, Rob. Congratulations. I also want to say thanks for your everyone's patience with working out the logistics of having people actually speak, camera, audience, different setting. We're working on it. We're making notes. We have the team from the digital media program here watching in the wings because they're going to actually be in the future. We hope the producers of the board meeting, and they're going to be running most of the tech stuff and kind of guiding us through the process. We're putting a tall order in front of them, but they're sitting back there learning and watching now. As we are in the Innovation Center at William Penn, you can see our Penn Bistro lights behind us here, where the students are able to get snacks while they're in their immediate in the Innovation Center, preparing for whatever coursework and classwork they may have during the day. So we're excited to be here, but be patient as we work through some of the logistical challenges. Sorry, didn't mean that.
That's okay. I needed a drink. Water.
Thank you for clarity.
Okay. Our next order of business we have is board policy manual.
At this time, the board in front of you, we're seeking consideration and action upon Colonial School District Policy 011 virtual school board meetings and reasonable accommodations for board members with a disability. This would be the second read of the policy. So we would be seeking a motion for approval.
Do I hear a motion to approve policy 011 virtual school board meetings and reasonable accommodations for members with a disability? Ms. Kennedy,
I make a motion to approve policy 011 as presented.
do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved by Ms. Kennedy, second by Mr. Pichu, to approve policy 011 virtual school board meetings and reasonable accommodations for members with disabilities. Questions? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Carried. Next order of business we have is House Bill 214.
Yes, you have in front of you a motion to authorize the tax credit for disabled veterans as defined in Code 1917B of Title 14 to be applied against tax imposed pursuant to Chapter 19 of Title 14 on the valuation of qualified property. So after I read that, I'm going to now ask Emily Falcon, our CFO, to explain to the board the information they received in their packet, if there are any questions of what this actually translates to for the district and for the board.
So essentially, good evening, board members. Essentially, House Bill 214 allows for the credit to any disabled veteran can apply to receive a credit of 100% of the taxable value on their property. It has to be their primary residence, and they do have to qualify as 100% disabled as defined by the statute. This establishes a program by which the state will provide funds to reimburse the districts for any of these credits that are given. So there is no financial impact to the district. The state will bear the cost, and the disabled veteran will get a credit of the property tax on their home.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Bradford? Okay, hearing none, do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to authorize the credit for disabled veterans as defined in section 917B of Title 14 to be applied against tax imposed pursuant to Chapter 19 of Title 14 on the valuation of qualified property for veterans.
Do I hear a second? Second. Been moved by Mr. Schiller, second by Mr. Crossan, to authorize the credit for disabled veterans as defined in statute number 1917D of Title 14. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Okay, item D, Colonial Education, otherwise known as CEA, Teacher Collaborative Bargaining Agreement. Dr. Menzer?
At this time, we're presenting to the board agreement that was bargained with our teacher group in good faith, and it was ratified by the teacher membership last week. And we presented to the board for their approval at this time.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve or disapprove the collaborative agreement? So moved. I wanted to approve or disapprove. Sorry. Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We move a second to approve the collaborative agreement with the CEA. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. I understand we have some officers of the CEA with us.
Yes, we do. We have President Donna Fesmeyer and Vice President Kristen Dassel. We'd ask if you could come forward and say a few words, and then we'd like you to come up to the table and do a signing of the document. So,
Hey, give you a stand on that corner.
stand on the corner so you
Stand
can
on
see
the
Ms.
corner.
Fesmeyer. You are.
Stand on the corner. Okay. Thank you for having us. I'd just like to say that we are thrilled with the way our collaboration went. And when we say a team, we mean the team of the district and CEA working together. We were one team and we did it in 2.5 days. And I have to say thank you to Betsy and to Emily and the rest of the crew. Kristen was part of the team. Kim Barbado was our co-chair with Betsy, and it was just a really pleasant experience. Believe it or not, it really was. So thank you, and we're thrilled to death.
Good. Thank you very much.
Look, ladies, come on up and have a seat here. We have signing for the.
Thank you.
Okay, the last order of business we have in this section is section E, presentation by Dr. Menzer in regards to, we're back.
Yes, we are back, Mr. Wallace, and board members, Colonial Nation. That's our mantra this year. There's no better time to say it. It's exciting to be back, but I can tell you that, as we continue to bring students back to full capacity, we do continue to face the challenges the COVID pandemic is presenting in our schools as it continues to spread in the community. You received the emails that we put out to staff every week. You received an update from me for a community information of what's going on with our transportations, our bus tiers. All those informational items have already been shared with the board, so I'm not going to repeat them for your purposes tonight. But I'll tell you, today I spent the better part of the day visiting with principals and school nurses just to see how things are going and get their take on it. And I have to tell you, while there is excitement and energy about being back in person, without a doubt. And every single one of the folks that I spoke to is committed to bringing students back into schools safely and providing a high quality education. I can tell you that this year, right now, the current state in terms of addressing COVID with contact tracing, quarantining, and positive cases in students is at a higher level of work and investigation, whatever you want to use for the word contact tracing, is higher degree of work and energy than we've seen last year ever. It is a substantial amount more work to contact trace one student than it is to contact trace one staff member, which was really where the focus was last year. The Delta variant is definitely impacting our young members of our community. When I asked the nurses what they think, what would they say to the board? Overwhelmingly, the nurses asked and wanted to stress for the board that we have health screeners in the community, that families need to check with their child before they come to school. And if they're exhibiting symptoms, don't send them to school. Call the school nurse. Wear their mask. And if there is a positive test in the family or one of the students is positive, please call the school and don't send them to school. We are chasing down daily students with contact tracing, both in the school bus, classroom, and the cafeteria. The spread in the community is fast. We have right now almost, and again, this is only as good as the last person who loaded their information in at the timestamp when I looked at our spreadsheet. There were close to 600 students impacted thus far this school year with respect to being quarantined for either a positive case or close contact. 600. That is more than we had times 4 last year. Each one of those close contacts and quarantines represents about an hour's worth of work for one person to contact trace. And that's on a good case that's clean and easy. The nurses just say that the less they have to contact trace, the more time they can have to get back to their students and the care of the ones that are in the building. Their priority is both, but the pressure is building as more COVID cases come in. The harder it is for them to take care of their students who they have in the building. One nurse, she has on her desk her iPhone and 3 students' blood sugar app because of their diabetic plan. That is her primary focus. That is life or death for those students who don't know how to monitor their own sugar intake and who don't understand what's going on. She cannot waver from that, but COVID does create a distraction. It's an important distraction, but it distracts her from nonetheless something that's right in front of her. And she does not like that. She doesn't, it's not like she wants to do it, but she knows that everybody's health and safety is important. All of our nurses feel that way. All of our principals are hands down all in. They're excited to see kids in the hallway. I saw spring in the step of every staff member who walked by while we were talking in the lobby or in the hallway. And that is no joke. There were smiles under masks. But know that those smiles come at a tremendous amount of energy and cost to make sure people stay safe and students can continue to come into our buildings and be educated. The biggest challenge is when students are quarantined. Those 600 students, while they're out, need an education. It's developing a system to provide them with an opportunity to learn while they're quarantined. And that is, again, the challenge of having enough staff in the building to provide that instruction. We're at a critical juncture of we are short teachers. Last count, we were still looking for 16 teachers. Our substitute service pool is light. For example, today we had 58 vacancies for substitutes. 11 were filled by our substitute vendor. The remaining had to be filled with teachers or staff members in buildings who are providing the support for students to learn to read, do math, SEL, emotional support. Well, that's not happening because they need to be in the classroom, covering class and helping provide instruction. So when you hear people talking about the impact on the school, please know that our resources are going into keeping students face-to-face, but that is pulling from other things that we know are valuable for students at this time. So where every single person I spoke to says, do not stop. We need to make this work. We can make this work. They're asking for grace and space as they work through the challenges, and they believe that things will get better. Might not feel like it. Their eyes didn't necessarily tell that story sometimes when they were talking, but they do believe it. So that's just, 7 schools, 14 staff members who are literally working 15 hours a day, some working on weekends to make sure the students are safe in school. So I'll answer any questions that you might be hearing in the community, but that's just the message I think you need to walk away with at the commitment level of our nurses and our principals. It's basically a representation of what all the staff are doing right now for Colonial students.
We have any questions for Dr. Mentor? None? Dr. Mentor, on behalf of the board, please pass along our appreciation to all of your staff members for the effort they're putting forward and the continued effort to make sure that we're getting our kids educated and giving them every opportunity.
They will hear that. In fact, you're moving forward in the agenda. The decisions you're going to make are going to further reaffirm the board's support of our employees. So I think that they will hear and feel that as you move forward in the agenda. So thank you very much.
A special thank you as well to the transportation department. I can only imagine what the leadership is dealing with and the staff in general. We've seen it, they've dealt with a lot, so I think that needs to be there.
So
they're getting it rough and they are working very hard.
So to that point, we have been getting contractors who are returning runs right now to us. And we are trying to man those runs as much as possible. I think we are getting better with our timing in the 3-tier system, but now we're adding in contractors giving back runs that are creating more stress and strain on the system for some of our schools, particularly some of our elementary schools who are waiting for a bus maybe 15, 20 minutes later than they should be. And we are very concerned about our contractors' ability to continue to meet the needs of the district right now. Our district pool is like, it's like any other employee group. We get a couple positive situations that come out from the community or a relative or a close contact if the spouse is positive and they're not allowed to drive and we have sub-drivers. I can tell you that there are days in our bus yard office, as part of a condition of employment in that office is that you actually have your CDL and can drive. There are days when there's only one person in there at 6 o'clock in the morning while William Penn's buses are going out, or 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. And they're the only person answering the phone while everybody else is driving. The first week of school, we were fortunate enough to be reassigned or permanently assigned our PIO and our strategic marketing officer to that space to help answer phones, at least to be a voice to help get a question or answer a phone, to pass the information along to the person there who knows and understands the routes. That's getting less and less, but we're still struggling with the drivers. And as you saw in one of the communications I put out there, that what's going to really begin to be impacted is our 4 o'clock activity runs here at William Penn, because we don't know if we're going to have drivers to take those routes. And that's our Tuesday and Thursday activity period here at William Penn that is in jeopardy right now. We're still working through it. There hasn't been a final decision, but that is in jeopardy. Other districts are having issues with transportation for athletics. They're having to change sports schedules, cancel events. We are, fingers crossed, treading water in that space. So thank you for calling attention to that, Chris. I appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments?
My comment is, commend district for letting us know what's going on, because we got a few phone calls concerning the bus that I was able to give them that information that they were able to accept what I was telling them, but looking at we understand. So that
we're learning and evolving that sometimes even some high level information to the board, our legislators, and some of our community leaders can help people explain what's going on, and it provides a better context for the environment in Colonial. So I'm glad to hear that it's been helpful, Ron, because that's a lot of people take a lot of effort to kind of craft that so that you have the right information. That's actually what's going on and some of it's not all good. I mean, we're not trying to shine up what's happening, just to be real clear. I mean, you're getting the straight facts of these are the struggles we're facing, and this is what you need to explain to the community, and we are continuing to work through it. So you're welcome, and I'll pass that along to the team.
Other comments? All right. Next order of business you have is Delaware School Board Association updates.
The Delaware School Board Association of the state is committed to increase.
Did not meet. Okay. Legislative? No meeting either. Okay, board, anything? No meeting. All right. Okay, items removed from the consent agenda, we had none. Items added to the agenda, we have 2. Those items are 9A, which is to waive the provisions of policy 004. Ms. Kennedy?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to waive the provision of policy 004.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved by Ms. Kennedy, second by Mr. Schiller, to waive the provisions of policy 004. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. 9B is the COVID leave policy. Ms. Kennedy?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the COVID leave policy as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Kennedy, second by Mr. Handy, to approve the COVID leave policy as presented. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Carried. Public comment. Okay, public comment. Just a reminder to everyone, we have a 3-minute time allotted to this for maximum. Okay, just a quick note that laws protecting the privacy of employees and students prohibit board members from engaging in a discussion of any employee's performance or qualifications or confidential matters relating to a student. If a board member violates such statutory right to privacy, such a board member may be exposed to individual liability. Concerns regarding individuals will not be discussed in the open forum. If you have a personal issue regarding your child or children, we will help you schedule or set up an appointment with the appropriate person to address your needs. Okay. That being said, the first one I have is Kimberly Miley. I hope I pronounced that right.
I think it's Miller, and I do believe she's in attendance virtually. If we could bring her to the screen.
It is Miller. My apologies, Ms. Miller.
We can. Not coming up on the screen up top. Let me see if she's on my screen here.
Set her up in the upper left-hand corner.
Hold on.
Hello?
Oh, anybody who's got their sound on in the room's got to turn it off, I think.
Yeah, that's why I can see it now.
Sorry about that.
Miller, can you hear us?
I can.
Good,
Okay,
thank you.
we can't necessarily see you, but we can hear you. So you have 3 minutes and the floor is yours.
Great. My only question was, when you have students that are put on quarantine because they were in a situation where someone had tested positive, that student then has to go into Schoology for their coursework. And I was wondering if the district can provide video cameras, laptops, so that the student can still participate in their class, and as opposed to missing 7 to 10 days.
Anything else?
That was it.
Okay, Dr. Lyda, if you could could you please reach out and address her concerns and answer her questions, please?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Dr. Lyda, Deputy Superintendent, will follow up with you via email to connect to have a further conversation about possibilities of what you're discussing.
That'll be great. Thank you.
Right, take care. Thank you
Take
for
care.
participating. Okay, second person that we have is Pam Lane.
Good, thanks.
Okay. And we have one more, Mr. Thomas Wesley. Floor is yours, sir. If you would.
Good evening. I try not to.
There you go. You're there.
It's fine.
Thank you.
I thought I'd stop by on the 20th anniversary of 911, just to give a small tribute. I truly can remember exactly where I was, exactly what I was doing, In fact, I was in a school meeting not too far from DC. So it's interesting trying to get home. But I won't bore you with that. That'll be for another time. So a small tribute to those who lost lives and have family members that have. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her. Stand beside her and guide her. From the mountain to the prairie, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America. This is my country, land of thy birth. This is my country, grandest on earth. I pledge to thee thy allegiance, America, the bold. For this is my country to have and to hold. Through the mountains and the prairie, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless this great America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, for this is a great country.
We have no further public comments. With that being said, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
For a second,
Second.
all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Drive safely.